Visual art has captivated audiences for ages. It's been used to imagine creative ideas through the use of many art forms, including ceramics, drawing, painting, sculpture, design, crafts, photography, video, filmmaking, and architecture. From Picasso to Disney, society has been forming opinions on visual art from the very beginning. To understand how art is formed, one must examine the creative process behind the artist's decisions. In my research, I have concluded that when distinguishing visual art into high and low categories, it is the relationship between art history and visual studies that eventually boils down to the familiar discussion of high and low culture. Starting in the ancient eras to medieval, Renaissance, Romantic, to modern movements, visual art has been impacted by change in more ways than one. As time progresses, tastes change, money is invested, and technology improves, resulting in the ideas and opinions on sophistication being swayed. Different techniques are exposed as artists strive to compete with the ever-changing continuum of art. Going on to early movements of individualism, paralleling secular and economic changes with a focus on the individual, to humanism, establishing a variety of beliefs and philosophies that places an emphasis on the human realm. Moving forward through history to introduce Baroque art forms, focusing on broadening the human intellect and global discovery. This period was characterized by grandeur, richness, and drama. Painters use intense contrast between light and dark to create energetic compositions matched by rich color palettes. Jumping forward to Neoclassicism, a time when the ancient civilizations of Athens and Naples were just discovered. Artists strove to recreate the grand works of ancient art, reigniting passions for all things in the past. This developed a renewed interest in the classical ideals of harmony, simplicity, and proportion. Progressing through history, the Romantic movement was characterized by the emphasis on emotion and imagination, as well as the glorification of nature with its irrational forces. These ideas were developed in response to the Industrial Revolution and the Enlightenment values of reason. Throughout history, it is evident that art has gone through many changes in response to a variety of things, sometimes even in response to itself. As Walter Benjamin once said, the uniqueness of a work of art is inseparable from its being embedded in the fabric of tradition, meaning that not only does art change over time, but it must change with the times. All of this results in us asking one question. Could the distinction between the meaning of these art forms be all left up to the viewer to value art based on one's visual experience? With or without the knowledge of the emphasis behind these movements, humans will always be influenced by their own experiences and opinions, along with the societal impressions of our world.
Music has played a very crucial role in shaping culture all around the world. Names ranging from Beethoven, Bach, and Mozart to Pink Floyd, the Rolling Stones, and the Beatles have become world-renowned simply because people enjoy their music. It is important to remember that high versus low art isn't a representation of good and bad, but is rather a representation of class division within society and how they like to spend their free time. High art within music disciplines tends to lead toward music from the classical and romantic eras. During these times, it was a very popular thing to go out and catch the orchestra during your free time, but in order to do this, you had to have money. This is where high versus low art essentially begins to originate, because it starts the idea that in order to see a specific venue, you had to have money. Low art was simply a result of high art. People began to essentially feel left out, and we start to see the emergence of different styles of music, jazz being one of the first. Remember, low art does not mean bad. For example, the Beatles would fit the category of low art. However, they are one of the most influential pop groups of all time.
Oh yeah, tell you something. I think you'll understand when I say that something. I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. Oh please, say to me, you let me be your man.
High and low theater is distinguished by the level of quality and design and how accessible a performance is. High theater is known for strong, vivid visual elements that encapsulate the setting of the play completely. This may include the use of multiple platforms and stage walls that spare no expense in artistic vision. Appropriate lighting and extravagant costume design are also contributing factors to the overall quality of high theater. High theater takes place in spaces that are not easily accessible and often require travel, such as Broadway in New York, Sydney Opera House in Australia, and Bolshoi in Russia. Another factor that makes high theater hard to access is the cost. For example, a ticket to the play at a Broadway theater can cost up to $1,000. This gives high theater a sense of exclusivity to the middle and upper classes. On the other hand, low theater is known for improvisation and the use of found spaces. Found space theater is defined as being theater converted from other spaces. This enables a play to take place in a parking lot, or in the street, in a park, or just about anywhere else. Costume and scenic design in low theater is makeshift and often takes on the use of inexpensive materials that can be less visually appealing. In addition to found space, low theater can also take place in schools and churches. Overall, low theater is easily accessible and is often entertainment at no cost. While it can be debated that one type of theater is more worthwhile than the other, both can provide a life-changing experience. Theater as a whole expresses our basic human instincts and influences how we think and how we feel about our own lives. It brings people together, helps them connect, and continually establishes its right as a fine art.
When it comes to dance, the high and low art definition starts to get a little fuzzy. Although society perceives classical ballet, classical neoclassical, modern, and certain forms of ballroom as high art. The most popular examples include Swan Lake, Nutcracker, Sleeping Beauty, Don Quixote, along with tango, waltz, and salsa. This form of art can be viewed at theaters, galleries, with high ticket prices added on. It is known that the elite have the ability to watch world-renowned companies at world-class venues, although that is not always the case. With low-art dance, it is seen as social dance or only commercial. This includes newer styles of dance like jazz, tap, Broadway, contemporary, hip-hop, and many more. Normally, middle/lower class have easier access to go watch these performances. With that being said, I believe that society needs to detain these ideas from reality and know that all dances serve the same purpose, and that is to tell a story and to make the audience feel emotion or feel a certain way. And there are recently dancers like Misty Copeland, Travis Wall, Mia Michaels, and many other choreographers that have broken that barrier and have allowed us to realize that all styles of dance are high art.